All right, let's talk about building a six-figure side hustle. Now, I know what you might be thinking. The term side hustle probably brings to mind grinding away for endless hours just for a little extra cash. Well, hang on a second. We're going to explore a much smarter way to build a really substantial income, one that you can actually achieve without totally burning yourself out. So let's dive in.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. To hit that big goal, $100,000 in a year, how many sales do you think you need to make? Just take a guess. Is it thousands? Tens of thousands? The answer to this really changes everything, and it perfectly sets up the two totally different paths you can take.
And here it is. You could go the hard way, selling something cheap, say for $2. To hit 100 grand, you would need to make 50,000 sales. That is an insane amount of work. But what if you went the smart way? You create a high-value solution that costs $2,000. Now you only need to find 50 customers. 50 in an entire year. See the difference? All of a sudden, that big goal feels a whole lot more doable, right?
So that leads us perfectly into the first, and maybe most important part of this whole blueprint. It's about a total mindset shift. You have to stop chasing volume and start focusing on creating real, powerful value. This is the bedrock idea that makes the smart way work.
Here's the big secret, the thing you really have to get. If you want someone to happily pay you $2,000, you have to stop thinking about making money. Instead, you have to become obsessed with selling a solution to someone's problem. That's it. Money is just what you get in return for how well you solve their problem.
And check this out, this is what it looks like in the real world. A student getting bad grades, that's a huge problem for them and their parents. Tutoring is the solution. Someone wants to lose weight? Big problem. A diet plan is the solution. You know, even something as simple as a gross stained driveway is a problem someone wants gone, and they will absolutely pay for pressure washing to solve it. And the key is, the bigger and more painful the problem, the more money they'll pay for a great solution.
Okay, so we get it. Solving problems is the key. But how do you actually create a solution that's worth that premium $2,000 price tag? Well, that's what we're getting into next with the premium price formula. This is the how-to guide for crafting that amazing offer.
There are basically 5 dials you can turn up. First, solve bigger problems. Helping someone lose 50 pounds is way more valuable than helping them lose 5. Second, do it faster. A solution that works in 10 weeks is worth a lot more than one that takes 10 months. Third, make it effortless for them. I mean, if you can create a diet plan where they lose weight while still eating ice cream, that's a premium offer right there. Fourth, add a guarantee. A money-back promise takes all the risk away from the customer. And finally, and this is a big one, target customers who actually have money. You can offer the exact same service, but you'll make more selling it to a lawyer than you will to a college student.
Now you might be thinking, okay, this sounds great, but a $2,000 service? That sounds like a ton of my personal time for every single sale. And you're not wrong. That is exactly why this next piece of the blueprint is so critical. It's all about how to scale your business without cloning yourself. And we do that using leverage.
So what exactly is leverage? It's pretty simple. It just means getting way more results for the same amount of work you put in. Think about it. It's the difference between trying to dig a giant hole with your bare hands versus using a massive excavator. We're looking for the business version of that excavator. And in today's world, there are 2 forms of leverage that are just on another level. They're at the very top of the pyramid, and they are code and media. These are the absolute game changers that let one person create a massive impact.
I mean, just look at the difference here. Manual labor, which is your own time and effort, has a pretty low ceiling. Capital, using money, gets you a lot more leverage, for sure. But code and media, they're not even in the same league. They give you a totally disproportionate amount of output for the input you put in. It's almost unfair.
So what are we actually talking about here? Code is just using things like AI tools, apps, and automation to have computers do the work for you around the clock while you sleep. And media? That's using platforms like YouTube, Instagram, or a simple email list to have algorithms find your ideal customers and bring them to you automatically.
All right, so you've built a high-value offer, you're using leverage to scale it, you're starting to make some serious money. But we are not done yet. There's one final, super important step in this blueprint, making sure you actually get to keep the money you earn.
So once you start making good money, you have to think about taxes. But here's the thing. There's a completely legal and smart strategy that businesses use all the time. You take your profits and you reinvest them right back into the business, and those investments can become deductible expenses.
Let's run through a super quick example. Let's say your pressure washing side hustle brings in $5,000 in profit. Awesome. But normally, that profit is taxable.
Now, instead of just taking that cash and paying taxes on it, you do something smart. You go out and buy a brand new, top-of-the-line, $5,000 pressure washer. Because that's essential equipment for your business, it counts as a business expense.
And here's the magic. Your $5,000 in profit is now canceled out by your $5,000 expense. So what's your taxable profit? It's zero. You've just legally deferred the tax, and you now own a powerful new asset that's going to help you make even more money. It's a beautiful cycle.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint. It's about focusing on value, not volume, pricing that value correctly, using leverage to scale your efforts, and being smart about keeping what you earn. And it really all boils down to that one starting point. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what valuable problem will you solve?